reminder, out of respect for the coach, please turn on your camera when asking a question. With that, we'll get started with head coach Bradley Carnell. We can jump right into questions in the room.
Thanks, Nico. What's the mood now? And is this
recording
game,
in progress?
You talk about dividing things up in blocks, in a year. Considering that there's going to be a FIFA window and then only one game after.
Yeah.
What's the block that you're in at this point?
What's the last 5 games? Yeah, we're into the block, and we're not putting too much focus on that. We know what we have to do. We know the job at hand, and we know that we responded and we had a good game against New England, and the clean sheet was really important, and I think that just brought a lot of belief and confidence back to the team by securing the clean sheet and more importantly also securing the 3 points. Yeah.
Is there I'm sure that, I just talked a little bit when you mentioned it, that there's some amount of talk in the locker room about knowing that there's a trophy at stake here for the Supporters' Shield.
So you spoke to who?
Oh, what?
Oh, okay.
They know there's a trophy play here with the Supporters' Shield, but also everybody in the league can hear the hoofbeats of Miami coming down the track because of all these games in hand that they have. What's the mood like for you? What's the sense for you of, are all these remaining games must win, or how's that play out?
Yeah, the mood is for sure playing for something to win and not trying to play to protect something to lose. You know what I mean? Which then creates a bit of freedom. If I all of a sudden now change the narrative from how I started the season and have a fearful approach and fear of failure, then there's the guys that we're all doomed to fail, right? So this is the thing. For us, it's about keeping true to who we are as a team, as a squad, regardless of how many games are left, regardless is who's behind us. We know where we are as a group, so that's very important for us to acknowledge that and embrace that, right? So, but I've never felt a sense of anxiety in the team. I've never felt a sense of like, oof, games are running out, we've got to get more points. Like, I've never felt that. So, and I think that's been what's been so special about the group. And I'm not sure Oluwetu understands what the Supporter Shield even is. So, I think he would just focus on playing the games and making sure that, he puts himself and the team in the best stand in the next 3 games. So, yeah, for us, it's, again, there's 3 games left. These boys are in an amazing spot to end the year on something special. But we can't think about something special without doing the work in front of us. And the work in front of us this week has been focused, concentrated, and confident.
Tactically, obviously, New England and DC are very different, but I guess mentality-wise, they might be in a little bit of similar situations with coaching changes being eliminated. Is there anything you take away from last week about how you guys mentally approach that game that can be applicable?
Yeah, I think the focus was on us. Against New England. The focus was very, very much on us and about the job we had to do and about the job we had to do to bounce back and to get that trip out west behind us. And that's already been now 2 weeks. So, we feel we're in a way different space right now. We feel that, we dominated, dictated the game against a team who was fighting for their lives to have a sniff at a playoff chance if they had got the result. Now it's a little bit different as well. Rene comes in, does a great job. They've got results in the last 4 out of 5 games, made a push against Miami. So they do have the quality. And like I said, I think I spoke in the last interview here a week ago. I said every team has quality. Every team has DP 10s and 9s and, great midfielders and all of that can create. So, then it's about us again. What are we doing to mitigate that? What are the chances we're mitigating? We know Benteke is a threat in many, many different areas. And this is part of the process to try and stop him, stop the supply, and make sure we get on the front foot and dominate the game how we want to.
What is the mentality side of beating a bad team and having the self-assurance to know what will cross the field at a team that is much lower in the standings and say this is a game you should win?
Yeah, for me, there's no bad teams. I've just answered that. For me, there's no bad teams. There's teams that have a run of form. There's teams that don't. There's teams that get injuries. And then, you spend a lot of money on injuries, and then all of a sudden, the guys can't perform for you, right? So you spend a lot of that. There's no bad teams in the league. These teams are all, the parity in the league is incredible. And when every team's firing on their all cylinders and their strengths, then teams are tough to beat. We're not entitled to anything. and that's the way we approach it. We embrace that, and we know who we are, and I think that's the impressive thing, and that's the important thing, that we acknowledge who we are, and what's got us here, will not necessarily get us there. So we have to change and always adapt, and think about getting better 1% every single day, and even in times of failure, that's growth. Have we grown from these moments? And there's always time to learn throughout a season. There's always time to learn, and I think we've learned a good couple of lessons, and now we're ready to put our best foot forward.
Do you have some reserve forward options that have taken their chances in limited opportunities, guys like Marcus and Sal? I wonder this week, as you maybe have a hole on the bench for a reserve forward, what you kind of want to see from them and how they can step up this week to try and put themselves in the shop window.
Yeah, we'll see who we take, and we'll see who's available, and we'll see, there's a couple of things to think about, and we'll make those choices in the next couple of hours here, who travels.
What have you seen from those guys over the last few weeks? They haven't been with the first team, but they've been, I think performing pretty well.
Sal has been with the first team.
Well,
Sal was on the bench.
right, and I guess Marcus has been.
And got in the game, yeah.
What have you seen from them over the last?
Well, I've seen performance and results, and the second team's in a really good standing, and we have a close working relationship with these guys, and that's why we incentivize. This week we had Gio Segura up with us, because of the absence of Frankie Westfield, and he for sure held more than his own, and it was fun to have him around the group, and yeah, so there's a constant exchange between who's up, who's down, who's traveling, who's not. And that's what it will remain to be throughout the season here. So, yeah, we see a lot of good things in a lot of plays.
Similar theme. Neil Pierre has been on the bench a few times. Made his debut in Vancouver, first team debut in Vancouver. Where is he in his progress, do you think?
Early stages. Very early.
With Frankie not being here, what's that challenge like, and what is your comfort level with Olivier right now?
Good. He's had a really good week of training. He had a bit of a stomach bug early on in the week, and that's the thing. We came out of Vancouver with a bunch of guys, 6-7 guys having a couple of problems, from the travel and, a little illness and sickness here and there. And I feel we're over the hump, and Olivier's, as of everybody, they had a good week of training, so it was fun to be around. And when Olivier's at his best, he's awesome. He crosses in a really good ball. He's a dedicated defender. We just have to keep him ready, because it's not easy, doing that secondary position and waiting till you're called upon, and then all of a sudden you need to perform under that pressure. So, we try and push the guys in training to keep them ready. But, I think he's feeling much better this week.
Is that illness, did that go into the tactical decision to go with Ale in Vancouver over him, or was that?
Yeah, partly because we did it once before in Chicago. I mean, we were fully confident that he could have done that, yeah.